So I'm gonna use this entire section as a coaching video for shot calling, and then what I'll do is I'll spectate a game and we'll talk through some stuff. So shot calling is a really important thing in team play, and it's quite difficult to micromanage it when you're in a team with randoms, because you can make the call and it can be the right call, but unless everybody goes with it, it can make a good call a bad call. So the number one thing for me with shot calling is you have to commit to the call, and you only make the call if you're certain. So if you're certain that Gold Fury is the right thing to do and you make the call, go for it. Don't doubt yourself. That is the biggest thing I say, is you have to have conviction in your calls. If everybody commits to a bad call, you can make it a good call. If nobody commits to a good call, it can be a bad call. So obviously the thing you want to learn is when to make those calls, and that's the bit that you learn over time with game knowledge and watching multiple games and seeing how people react to certain situations. But that's my number one bit of advice for you, is when you become a shot caller or you want to start making shot calls, commit to your calls. Commit to them. Decide, yes, I'm going to be the shot caller in this situation. I've decided we're going to Gold Fury. Everyone go with it. And if you're playing with somebody else who's the shot caller and they make the call, go with them. If they say attack Gold Fury, even if you're thinking, I don't know if that's the best thing to do, just go with it. Because like I say, you can turn a bad call into a good one if everybody commits. So shot calls come fundamentally through map awareness. So much of the things I want to teach people fundamentally boils down to map awareness. And map awareness comes, number one, from you just looking at the map. Consistently looking at the map, checking what's going on, looking at the map every 5 seconds. When I first started playing Smite, one of my friends who'd played League for a long time, and he was a very good Smite player, told me that you should look at the map every 5 seconds, and if you don't, then set a metronome on your phone that ticks every 5 seconds, and every 5 seconds you respond to that tick by looking at the map until it becomes second nature. So fundamentally you need good awareness of what's going on. The second thing you need to have good awareness of what is going on is just wards. You have to have wards out on the map in the key positions, in the key areas, so you can make those calls. So right in the middle of every single lane, walking up past the towers right now, is the biggest ward in the early stage of the map, and that's the enemy minions. The enemy minions are a ward for you because... Sorry. Your minions are a ward for you because they tell you when an enemy is nearby. So if you look across at an opposing lane and you see your minions are there but there's no enemy there, then they could well be missing. So you don't need an ally to call missing for you. You should know it yourself, really. I know it's the harsh reality that people don't want to hear, but the reality is you should be able to make those calls yourself. And as time has gone on, I genuinely think I have very, very good map awareness. And when I'm playing, you'll notice if you ever see me play on stream, I'm calling ganks for the opposite side of the map. I will be sitting duo lane and I'll be saying, solo, you're getting ganked. Because I've noticed that the jungler was in mid lane a second ago and now he's not. So he's likely gone into that side of the jungle. So if we put a 3-stage plan in process for you of how to improve shot calling, I'll break it down into this. Number one is you need map awareness by doing the 2 things that I've just said. The next one is you need to know what calls to make, and that's the one that will come with a bit of time and a bit of practice. And then finally, the last one is identifying when to make those calls. So calls, I can't sit and talk through when to make calls because obviously it changes all of the time and it fundamentally changes. But it does boil down to one thing. You make a call for an objective, for a tower, for a fire giant, a phoenix, a pyromancer, a gank, whatever it is, you're making that call because you think that you've got a better opportunity to take it than the enemy does. So if it's a gank, it's because you outnumber them. If it's a Gold Fury, it's because you've got either more damage or you've got a small window of opportunity. So that's what it all boils down to. So what I'd say is you need to identify every single time in the game when you've got an advantage over the enemy team. Because Smite fundamentally boils down to, it's a 20-minute game that is broken down into tiny little skirmishes. Okay? It's like when everybody is alive, the game is even. And then when someone dies or gets caught out of position, or, then it's like, imagine a little line like a tug of war in the middle, and a couple of people die and it goes in your favour. Okay? Now when it's in your favour, you have to take advantage of it. So it's, okay, we're going to take some farm, we're going to take a Gold Fury, we're going to push a tower. When it's in the opposing team's favour, so a couple of members of your team have died, you have to recognise, okay, what are they going to do with their advantage now? So let's say it's like 10 minutes into the game and the duo lane get ganked by the jungler and take out both of your duo lane. The slider has moved in your favour. Now, what is the best thing to do with the advantage at maybe 12, 30 minutes into the game when you've killed the entire enemy duo lane? Well, it's take what's in that side of the jungle, so it's Gold Fury. So if you're in the mid lane and you recognise that your duo lane have just died, you think, okay, what are they going to do with that now? They're likely going to go Gold Fury. And you have to recognise, is it worth me trying to contest it? Will they just kill me as well? Or do I just need to back away and let them take it? But that in itself is also an opportunity. Let's say the enemy are going to Gold Fury. Can you make a counterplay? So let's say this fight goes this way now. So the red team, they're going to kill Oleron. Looks like they're likely going to kill the cleaner as well. And let's say they then go for Gold Fury. But let's say you're on the blue team in the mid and you think, okay, red team are going to be at Gold Fury. What can I do? Can you make a slight move right? Can you take something in the jungle? Can you take Scorpion? Can you even gank solo lane? Because you know where the enemy team is. So that's what I'd say making plays and recognising things comes down to, is identifying that process of when your team is ahead or when the enemy team is ahead and what is likely going to be the next step for them. So, okay, let me pause this here because this might be a really good opportunity to talk about this. Okay, so both teams in this situation now, it's quite even. Okay, it's not really gone either team's way. But what has happened, Merlin has backed, Erlang Shen has backed. Over here, you've got an Apollo who's out of position and an Athena who's out of position. So, right now, ask yourself, if you were this, let's go and ride on board with Hera. If you were this Hera, right now, so you know where your jungler is, let's assume she knows everything that's going on. So she knows Merlin's backed, she knows Erlang Shen's backed, she knows these two are here. What is the correct play now for the blue team? Because right now, they have a slight advantage. Because the enemy team are 2 people down, because they've retreated. So, these are your options. You can either collapse onto these two and potentially look to take the kill. They've got a level advantage. Look at that, 6, 6, 9 against 5 and 7. They've got a level advantage, and that might be the call that they do, but they have to commit to it. Yeah, I'd say 3-man push. That's what I'd do. If they all commit to this fight, they could take this fight, and then what they've got is 2 people dead, 2 people back in base. Looking at the map, there's not a great deal, actually, that they can take here, because most of the objectives are down. So, if they do clean up this fight, what I would then say is you'd probably retreat, buy up, get your items online and come back out. But let's say Gold Fury was up here. You could take the duo and then force the Gold Fury fight. Now, it might be a little bit early for Gold Fury because obviously these people are quite low on level, but let's say it's a bit later in the game. You can take the fight over to Gold Fury. Now, if the red team have it warded, they have to make a choice. They either have to come over and commit to it and try and defend it, which, with your level advantage and your numerical advantage, you kind of want them to do, because you could maybe get a pick and the Gold Fury. But if we reverse it, if I was the red team and I lost the duo and I knew the enemy team were going to Gold Fury, I'd think, okay, I can't contest this because we will likely die. Maybe Erlang Shen could contest it because he's got a long range attack and he can get out as well. But if I was Merlin, I'm thinking I can't do anything here. So if I was Merlin, I'd go over here. I'd see what I can take in this side of the jungle while that one's being occupied. I'd clear the wave. I'd pop into here and see what's going on. Maybe take this small window of opportunity to get some wards out. So let's see what goes on. Let's see what the call is. Blue team, are they going to engage hard onto this duo? Looks like they are. They are going to go for it. Okay, perfect. Okay, now, freeze again. Duo down. 4 members of the team. 1 probably has to back the cleaner because she's pretty low. But the other 3, they're now in a situation where they can't really go for Gold Fury because it's not up yet and it would probably kill them at this stage. But, look at this. You've got a solo laner over here with Guan Yu. There's nothing else to take. You could make a trip over here as a 4. You could easily, definitely secure the Scorpion. You could probably kill Guan Yu, but if he's got his ult up, he might escape. And with nothing else to take on the map, that's not a bad shout. So let's see what the call is. And this is what separates the teams, is the decision making in situations like this. If the decision is just go back to lane, then what was the point in winning the team fight? If it's just go back to lane, then what's the point in winning the team fight? You may as well just stay in the lane and farm. So that looks like what the call is here. Admittedly, though, I will say there isn't a great deal they could actually take because most of it is down. Gold Fury is not going to fall at this stage of the game. But let's go back to Misaki. And that's what it is. That is basically how the game works. It's a tug of war. The line stays in the middle here. And then team fights happen and it swings one way. And then it's almost like a window opens. And the team who've got the advantage, they then have to decide what to do with it. And if they just retreat to lane and back off, then they've lost it. So, pause again. Right now, mid lane has killed the opposing mid laner. Jungler is here as well. What would you do? What would you do now here? Because you know the mid lane is dead for 12 seconds. Takes another 15 to walk back to base. They could potentially look to gank, a 2-person gank over here, or they can just farm up. If they've got their ward vision, I'd be looking at red. Red's about to come up. I'd pop my head into jungle, see if red can be taken. And taking a red buff is more than just you're taking the damage buff away from the opponent. You're taking gold XP, and you're really putting them behind. Stealing away a buff is such a big thing in this game. So let's see what the call is. This is the worst thing you can do. Just stand in lane doing nothing. You're wasting time. You've got to clear that wave quickly and then go and commit to something. So, we know, it's obviously great having this hindsight vision. We know that red is up there. Okay? Let's see if either of the 2 mid laners, or the 2 people in mid, can recognise this. Now, if they want to take tower, that's fine, but as I said at the start with decision making, you have to commit to these decisions. Neither of these are committing to this. Look, Cleaner stood there, sort of doing a bit of nothing. Hera's throwing out the odd basic attack, and now they're both retreating. So they've gone to get their own red before checking if the enemy red is down. Now, any buff is usually running on the same timer, aren't they? They're not too far apart, especially at the early stage of the game. They sort of pick up buffs one after one another. So opportunity missed there for Hera. Okay, pause again. Another opportunity now. Actually, maybe for Cleaner, but not for the mid laner. So Cleaner has now forced the enemy jungler to back. She can see the recall animation starting. So she knows Erlang Shen is backed. She knows where the mid laner is because she's behind her. She knows where Guan Yu is because he's fighting Thanatos. And she should know where the 2 duo laners are because they'll have just been in vision. So she knows that she has got about a 15-25 second window to take these back camps. Let's see if that's what happens. Rampage. She's looking for the kill, which again is fine. If she gets it, commit to it, take the kill. Good, got the kill. Now what do? You know the enemy mid lane is dead. You know the enemy jungler's dead. Or backed. Basically the same thing. Thanatos going in hard. Okay, good. Now you've got the kill. You know the enemy jungler's dead. What's next? Do you collapse on the mid laner? Not a bad shout. You know Athena's coming. If you get the kill, that's big. See, Thanatos... Look. What did Thanatos do? He killed the enemy jungler and just went back to lane. What was the point in killing him then? You could have used a 3-on-2 here into the mid lane. Killed Merlin. Taken the tower. I mean, maybe he knew the back camps were down, I don't know. But... don't know, I think wasted opportunity there. Let's get over to the Thanatos. I mean, Thanatos solo is questionable anyway, especially with the build they've got. His team's now actually lost that fight in mid because of that. Actually lost the cleaner and the Alaron. So Red actually came out of that fight better. They lost their jungler and then came out of the fight in a better position. Because the whole team has rotated over here now. So, if you're Hachiman and Thanatos, you should be fully aware that the full enemy team has just rotated over to mid. Did Apollo get the kill? I think he did. I think Apollo got that kill. So Hachiman here, why are they backing? You know Apollo has ulted. I'm sure. I think he ulted in this lane. So why back? You've got time to do something here. Blue team fully recognise this out of position Apollo. Does he have his ult to get out of this? Yes, he does. I'd be popping it now, my man, or you are going to be sitting duck. Good chase. Okay, so this is something I was talking about in a video I'm going to publish tomorrow, actually. Is how getting ganked is actually a good thing. So, Apollo has dragged 3 members of the team over here now to this far lane and ulted away. So, do you know how long it takes to walk to Fire Giant from there? 25 seconds. So, you've got 25 seconds of free farm onto that Greater Scorpion and that side of the jungle. But they also have free farm at Gold Fury here. Could have took more Merlin, could have took more. Blue team way ahead. So when I was talking before about the sort of rope tug of war, having a gold and XP lead moves the resting position of it almost. So when everyone's disengaged and everyone's alive, the resting position is not in the middle, it's slightly in favour of the team that's ahead. So that's why when you get ahead and you take advantage of it, you move the almost generic position of the rope, should we say. Guan Yu making a very poor decision here to engage hard onto someone way ahead of you underneath their own tower. Oops. So, solo lane are dead. What are you going to do, blue team? So, enemy solo lane are dead. What are you going to do about it? You've got free farm. Are you going to use it wisely? What are you going to do about it? Take the wave now. Go. Leave. Please leave. Minions can take towers. Minions can take towers. Tier 1 towers at 17 minutes. Pause. Pause, pause, pause. No ward vision at all in this jungle. I'm going to play that on so that Talu's assault stops because it's really irritating. Okay. Imagine there's a line drawn across the middle of the map called the engagement line. If you step over the engagement line and you don't have ward vision in your jungle, well, then you're risking being ganked and dying. Guan Yu has gone over the engagement line. Bearing in mind he is behind. No ward vision whatsoever. This death that is going to come, unless he plays very well here. Oh, is he actually going to get the kill? Oh my god, I take it all back. No, I don't. It was still a bad call to go over that line of engagement because you didn't know where the enemy jungler and, you know, they've just respawned. Now that's something you always have to consider, is when the enemy is just respawned, they are in no obligation going to go back to their respective lanes. They might all decide, hey look, Guan Yu's overextended, let's go right. So it's always a risk for a respawning enemy team. I mean, he got the kill, and this is the problem. Some people would by getting the kill, almost think, oh, well, it was the right call. It still wasn't the right call. You can't go over that line of engagement when you're 4 levels behind without ward vision. You're just asking for trouble. If you play that scenario out 10 times, you're not going to get the kill 10 times. Ooh, red. Do you know what? The red team have pulled this right around. Right around. Got the kill. Uh-oh. But here come the cavalry. Here come the cavalry. They are here. It's just going to be a deicide that Athena drops. Guan Yu over here, farming their back camp. Okay, blue team, you've got a deicide, basically. You don't know where Guan is, but I'm sure he'll make himself known when he attacks that minion wave in a second. So what are you going to take? You've got 30 seconds of dead enemies. Are you going to be aggressive, take the enemy jungle camps, or are you going to be defensive and take your own? Red team are grouping around fire.
Hey, wait a minute.
Are they looking for a pick? Big team fight. Everyone should be here for this. Big team fight in mid. Merlin, big damage. Oh, Guan Yu is going to get double kill. He's gone for Hera to zone her out the fight. Well played. This Thanatos though, full damage, can't ignore him. Cannot ignore him. Okay, this is going to be a big team fight, and this is where we test the shot calling. I'm going to pause it after this team fight, and I'm going to put you in charge of one of the members of the enemy team. I'm going to say, what are you going to do? Stop! Stop! We pause! We pause! What are you going to do? I'm throwing you in the shoes of the shot caller for the blue team. What's your call here? At this moment, your options are, do you pursue Athena and try and get the deicide? Do you push middle tower? Do you go and take Fire Giant? Do you go and set up for Gold Fury? What is your decision? So, are they going to set up for fire now? Because they do have an opportunity. Although the red team are back alive. I'd at least set it up. I'd at least set it up. And get some wards out. Get the territorial advantage. Certainly do not get picked like this cleaner may be here. She's out. She's away. See, the thing is, when you take a single... Merlin's in danger. When you take a solitary Phoenix, what you need to do is drag the enemy away from that lane so the minions can do their thing. So you need to force the fight at Fire Giant or Gold Fury, which is, to be fair, what they are doing.
Rampage. Shut down.
Good fight back from blue team here. Really good fight back. Is he going to get a deicide here? Again. If Athena's smart here, she'll waste time. She'll run long paths through the jungle away from the big objectives. Okay, you got a deicide. Make a big call. What's the play? Oh, the F6. The F6! Boo, red team. I can't coach if you F6.